One of the fundamental components to the corrective exercise strategy we use throughout this book is the visualization, isometric positioning, palpation, and breathing strategy, otherwise known as the VIP plus B strategy. This strategy utilizes several different components to create the most optimal response that we can by working on several different levels, both at a deeper subconscious level, both for people that are tactile or kinesthetic type learners, people that are auditory learners, and also people that need a combination, which is most of our clients. We'll use these techniques to create the most optimal responses within the kinetic chain we can without just saying, hey Emily, squeeze your shoulder blades down and back. That strategy works to create a certain response. However, it's not always the most optimal response. It's not always the response we want because the brain says, okay, squeeze down and back. It's got a pre-programmed idea of what that looks like and feels like. The VIP plus B allows us to access different parts of the brain, makes the learning experience very multidimensional and multisensory. And it allows the brain to really connect into what's happening to the body. It forces the person to start to think about where and how they're moving. So we like this strategy a lot because it gives us a lot of bang for our buck and really makes this experience of corrective exercise a very intellectual experience, which for a lot of our clients is what they need because so many of them have become disconnected with their bodies. So I'm going to show you how we use it with prone thoracic extensions, or otherwise known as prone lengthening, to activate a lot of different components, both long spine, stabilized scapulothoracic articulations, as well as breathing and core activation. So the visualization part of the strategy is I'll have Emily place her hands here. I want her to think long. So Emily, I want you to feel like a wire is attached to the top of your head and elongate your spine. Just think long, like somebody's gently pulling your head this way out in front of you. I want you to think like somebody's grabbed a string to your tailbone and gently pulling you long down here. And you can see it starts to already elongate her spine versus just telling Emily, just get long or use good posture. I just give her visualization and her brain will find a way to find those correct patterns. And then I can modify it based on what results she's using. She's got a real nice strategy, so I'm not going to change that at all. Now, the isometric positioning. The position I have her in is an isometric position, and I'll use this isometric positioning to create a specific response. If I wanted a more specific response on one side, I may lay her on her side and do an isometric position there. If I wanted a more prone position, I may put her in a quadruped and use that position. I may have to physically put my hands and push her body into, or gently place her body into a position that helps create the more ideal positioning and activation strategy I want her to have. This position will allow me to get a lot of different components, including better spinal alignment, scapular stabilization, and thoracolpelvic alignment. So now, palpation. We can use scratching, tapping, placement, kinesthetic pushing into a certain direction to create a response. Most of our clients have a downwardly rotated scapular position and anterior tilted position. This position, I'm going to palpate to her scapula to encourage a more posteriorly tilted position and upwardly rotated position. Her arms are positioned isometrically in slightly upward rotated position, which will help the process start already. So again, Emily will get long through her spine. Again, think about that string here, string down here. I want you to think about pressing your elbows slightly into the table. And what I'm going to do is push her scapula lightly medially and towards her head. That's going to create that nice downward motion and upward rotation, so it'll allow her to slide the scapula down and around her thorax against my palpatory force. So I'm going to push my fingers up and in towards the spine, and then she's going to be able to activate perfect. And you see her get longer, and you see the scapula set down around the thoracic region. So she keeps nice and soft through here, nice and long through here, nice good scapular and glenohumeral positioning. Now, B, breathing. Now she's got visualization, isometric positioning, the palpation, now the breathing. Now I'm going to change my hand placement down here. I want you to breathe down into my hands, so I want her to think breathing laterally and posteriorly. Nice, perfect. Breathe into my hands again. Nice, perfect. Don't let me push my fingers in, so I'm going to have her activate as she does that. So nice, breathe into my fingers. Perfect. She gets nice elongation, nice scapulothoracic articulation, nice thoracolpelvic positioning and activation, and it's a great position. Using the VIP plus B, you can relax. Visualization, I gave her some cues for that. Isometric position, I put her in the position that I wanted to create the specific response I wanted. Palpation, I gave her a palpatory cue. I could scratch and tap different areas of the spine and or muscle that I want to activate. And then breathing, tying the breathing and activation strategy into the strategy to help create a more ideal and optimal stabilization and then eventually movement strategy for your client.